Hi, and welcome to Beatle Dave's Beatles channel. It's a very special extra video today, guys, so please come and join me. You don't want to miss it. So hello then, and a very warm welcome today to this very special video presentation of the Paul McCartney 7-inch singles box set, which is limited to 3,000 boxes worldwide. So when it first actually went up for pre-order, I decided to leave it until the next day, but as we know now in the UK, it was just too late because it was completely sold out. So that was it, I thought. I wasn't prepared to pay double prices on eBay, which is totally just so unfair for the real fans that actually want to get one of these boxes. However, though, Christmas morning, I had a fabulous surprise when I got the set, which is also a very low number and also a very rare promo edition. Now, as I've heard, I know a lot of people have had problems and issues with quality control on these boxes, with things like scratches to the vinyl, misplaced labels, damage to sleeves, and even damage to the actual wooden boxes. So all I can suggest to you guys that if you've got issues is to try and contact your point of sale in your country, and if you're in the UK, I have an email for you, which is operationsupport@umusic.com, and I hope that helps. So obviously now this is going to be a really long video, so why not grab a drink and maybe something to eat while I unbox the complete Paul McCartney 7-inch singles collection box set. So please, come and join me. So on to the actual box itself then, and the official release date is the 2nd of December 2022, and there's 3,000 worldwide copies of the box set. The actual box itself was made in Chesterfield from redwood pine and birch ply. So let's take a look. So let's get these straps off first then. And I've taken the liberty already to take the singles out so the box set's a little bit easier to move, which obviously makes a bit of sense because it's quite heavy. So we get those off, and obviously we reveals there McCartney Production Limited, and we're going to take a look at all the sides of the box, and they obviously don't get wet, and obviously handle with care, and we've got a nice big 7 on that side. It's a really beautifully made box as well, and obviously there's some boxes have obviously been damaged, unfortunately, not too many. And then on this side of the all important information there with Paul McCartney, the 7-inch singles box, and of course number 137, which is a promo set, this particular one, out of 3,000 sets worldwide. And then on the opposite side, this way up, and of course then you've got the inside of the box with all the foam packing, and of course you've got the foam lid on the inside as well. Really fabulously made in Chesterfield. So another little component then is this little paper insert, which is made in France, as you can see, and it lists every single in the box set, obviously, apart from the test pressing. So on to the 148-page book, which contains the foreword from Paul, an essay from Rob Sheffield, and you've got recording notes, release dates, and chart information on each of the singles. It's a lovely booklet, as you can see. 87-inch there. On the back you've got just the MPL logo, but you've got a spine which reads Paul McCartney, the 7-inch singles box. So we'll take a look at the actual booklet. We'll do as much as we can in the booklet. Paul McCartney, the 7-inch singles box there. We're going to flick through as quickly as we can. We've got a lot to get through. So we've got the forward there, then all the years, followed by Paul McCartney. And just really got so many great pictures within the booklet itself. There's your introduction there by Rob Sheffield, and then it goes through obviously Paul's influences there, rare pictures, acetates there of the In Spite of All the Danger acetate there, and then right through pictures of wings right the way through the years into the 80s there. Paul there on his guitars. Great information. But obviously we get to the part where you've got all the singles itself then, and all the information, all the chart information, recording details, etc. on every single within the box set. Obviously excluding the test pressing because they're different on every box. But you've got a lot of information here. Keep you busy for some time. All the singles, 80 singles. I mean, that's incredible. What other artists could do that many and actually all be quality material? Into the 80s then. Coming up, Waterfalls, what a beautiful song. Tug of War. Pipes of Peace, of course. Press. In the late 80s. Once Upon a Long Ago. Some great songs there off Flowers in the Dirt there. Into the 90s. And obviously some live tracks by Paul there from his live albums, the oratorio tracks. More great songs. Flaming Pie tracks, brilliant album. Run Devil Run stuff, into the noughties. And near the end. Fine Line. And then we go nearly towards the end now. There's obviously some picture sleeves made for this set uniquely. Hope for the future. And then obviously more recent stuff from Paul. Who Cares? 2022, of course. Women and Wives. Production notes. And that's it, guys. That's a brilliant little booklet. Lovely. So on to the first single then, which is Another Day and Oh Woman Oh Why. Of course, this is a Swedish picture cover from around the period. Same picture on both sides. Great image of Paul. And of course then on to the 45 itself. Replica Apple logos and labels there. And of course you've got all the McClellan details on the left with Northern Songs. And on the right there you've got produced by Paul McCartney in the P 1971. With Another Day written by Mr. and Mrs. McCartney and Paul McCartney at the bottom. With on the reverse, of course, Oh Woman Oh Why on this side. With the McClellan details on the left again with Northern Songs and the P 1971 produced by Paul McCartney. And at the bottom the song details with the writing credits and Paul McCartney again. In fabulous condition. These sound really, really fabulous, these singles. So on to the US mono promotional release then for Uncle Albert and Admiral Halsey. You got that Apple sleeve then on both sides with a little catalogue number at the bottom there. And of course you got the double-sided Apple promotional mono release then. All these tracks are mono on this single. But they're really dark labels these actually. But you've got Uncle Albert there, Admiral Halsey. You got mono from the LP Ram there with Paul and Linda McCartney at the bottom there. And of course on the right there you got the promotional number. And then on the B side is obviously Too Many People. References obviously to John Lennon. With mono there again, and obviously from the album Ram. With Paul and Linda McCartney there, and that promotional number on the right as well. So back to the UK then for this single, which is The Backseat of My Car. Obviously once again you've got that Apple sleeve with the catalogue number at the bottom. And the actual single itself then, got those dark Apple labels again for this set. Of course you've got the original catalogue number on the left hand side there. With Northern Songs NCB. And you got produced by Paul McCartney as well there. With The Backseat of My Car. And of course Paul and Linda McCartney at the bottom there. Fabulous. Really fabulous single this one. Once again there you got the catalogue number on the left. With Northern Songs. With the P 1971 of course. And on the right produced by Paul and Linda McCartney and EMI recording. Heart of the Country. Paul and Linda McCartney. So on to the single then that was never released from the album Wildlife. You got Love Is Strange here, which is the single edit with I Am Your Singer on the B-side. You got that Wings yellow sleeve there replicated. Got that catalogue number at the bottom again. Not much information on the label of course. But it does say on that side, Love Is Strange. And of course on the B-side, right at the top there, I Am Your Singer. On to 1972 then, and Paul's first band single of that year. Give Ireland Back to the Irish. So you've got that Wings yellow sleeve again. And of course, catalogue number at the bottom there. And the actual single itself. You get those shamrocks replicated, the exact label really. This is really, really good. Replicated one, this one. Of course, you've got some details there, the catalogue number, etc. at the top there. And the matrix number with Northern Songs. And you've got the all rights information on that side. With Give Ireland Back to the Irish there, written by McCartney and McCartney and produced by the McCartneys with Wings at the bottom. With the same on this side. With Give Ireland Back to the Irish then, the version or instrumental version. With the same details there, McCartney and McCartney and produced by the McCartneys with Wings. So on to the UK version then of Mary Had a Little Lamb. The sleeves replicated exactly the same as the UK one. Catalogue number at the bottom there. And the single itself, of course, the labels exactly the same. Got Wings at the top there. Then turn it that way and you've got an Apple record, an EMI recording and the catalogue number there, manufactured in the UK. Of course, at the bottom there you've got Mary Had a Little Lamb, written by McCartney and produced by the McCartneys. And flipping it over to the B-side, we've got a misspelling here. It should be Little Woman Love, and it says Little Women Love. So I'm guessing that's on every copy. But you've got Wings at the top there, of course, with all the other details the same. An Apple record, EMI recording, and a catalogue number. We're produced by the McCartneys and written by McCartney and McCartney. So on to Paul's second band single from 1972, which is Hi Ho Hi and Sea Moon. It's a great picture sleeve, this one. You've got facsimile autographs there from the guys. You've got Apple on the bottom left corner. And the same image, but upside down on the reverse. So let's flip that back over. So we've got the right way up for the single. Once again, then you've got that dark apple there. But actually, the actual writing itself is quite silvery, so it's more easier to see. So you've got Hi Ho Hi there, Paul Linda McCartney, and Wings, produced by Paul McCartney. And on the reverse there, of course, you've got Sea Moon, which is Paul Linda McCartney and Wings there. I like these labels because they're really quite bare. I like to see the whole Apple image, really nice. So on to a really cool picture sleeve then from Israel, for My Love, and of course The Mess, which was recorded at The Hague. Paul McCartney and Wings there. Same image on the reverse. And the actual 45. There we go, we've got a Parlophone label there. With McCartney's Wings. And then My Love with McCartney, an Apple record, and EMI recording. And flipping that over then to the B-side. Once again, you've got the Parlophone label with McCartney's Wings, The Mess, McCartney, an Apple record, and EMI recording. Fabulous. On to Sweden then for this particular picture sleeve. It's a great picture of Paul there. Wings, Live and Let Die. And of course on the back there you've got Apple on the top right with Wings again. And of course some pictures from the Bond film Live and Let Die with I Lie Around on the B-side. So once again we've got an Apple label there. Quite dark. But you've got some information on the label there. We're produced by George Martin on the right there with the catalogue number and an EMI recording. With some details about the film Live and Let Die on the left. And of course the single itself, Live and Let Die, written by Paul and by Wings from the film Live and Let Die. And on the reverse then, I Lie Around, of course. Same details as before with the catalogue number on the right. But this one's produced by Paul and EMI recording. And on the left there you got McCartney Music Inc. ATV Music Limited. With I Lie Around, McCartney and Wings. So on to a fabulous picture sleeve from Spain then, for the single Helen Wheels and Country Dreamer on the B-side. Paul McCartney and Wings there, that Apple logo bottom left, and Helen Wheels. And of course you've got Paul McCartney and Wings again, Country Dreamer, with the Apple logo again. And once again, you've got the Apple label on this single. At the bottom, Helen Wheels, McCartney and Paul McCartney and Wings. And on the B-side, Country Dreamer, Paul McCartney and Wings, of course produced by Paul McCartney. On to Germany then for this particular picture sleeve of Jet. Paul McCartney and Wings there in the clouds. Of course you've got some information there for Band on the Run. The Super LP by Paul McCartney and Wings, Band on the Run there. Jet, Let Me Roll It, Paul McCartney and Wings. So the actual single itself then, once again, quite a dark label this one. But you've got Paul McCartney and Wings there with Jet stereo on both sides with the catalogue number. Then on the reverse, of course, Let Me Roll It, Paul McCartney and Wings. Fabulous single. So on to another German picture sleeve then for this particular single, which is obviously Band on the Run with 1985 on the B-side. Paul McCartney and Wings with Denny, Linda and Paul there. Once again then we got the promotion for the Band on the Run album there. And the actual single itself. Once again you've got a dark label. Got Band on the Run there, Paul McCartney and Wings. And onto the B-side. 1985. Paul McCartney and Wings. So on to the Netherlands for this fabulous single then. Paul McCartney and Wings there, Mrs. Vanderbilt and Bluebird. Of course got the pictures from the reverse of the album there of Paul, Linda and Denny. Got that Apple logo. Then on the back they're promoting the album once again with all the songs listed. But we never got this single in the UK, but it's certainly a great single. Mrs. Vanderbilt there, with produced by Paul McCartney on the right on stereo. Because on the left you got the catalogue number and the P1973. With the Mrs. Vanderbilt at the bottom and Paul McCartney and Wings. But on the B-side then, of course it's Bluebird, with a great Howie Casey solo there. It's a brilliant song, this one. Produced by Paul McCartney in stereo. With on the left there the catalogue number and the P1973. With Paul McCartney and Wings at the bottom. It's a great single. So on for a fabulous picture sleeve from Belgium then for Junior's Farm and Sally G on the B-side. Paul McCartney and Wings there, a little photo of Paul and Linda with that Apple logo. Exactly the same on the reverse there. So let's flip that back and then we'll look at the single. It's great labels then, you've got that silvery writing again, which is much easier to see. Of course you've got Junior's Farm there with Paul McCartney and Wings and produced by Paul McCartney. With on the B-side there, Sally G, written by Paul McCartney, of course, by Paul McCartney and Wings and produced by Paul. On to 1975 then, with Listen to What the Man Said. This picture sleeve's from Australia, although it's very similar with the UK one, of course. Almost identical. So actually this vinyl itself then, got the Capital logos there, with the MPL logo and stereo, catalogue numbers on the right with the Venus and Mars planets, and Listen to What the Man Said from the album Venus and Mars there, Wings, produced by Paul McCartney. And on the reverse then, of course, we've got Loving Song. Got that Capital logo again at the top, with the MPL logo there, stereo, and the catalogue number and the planets on the right. But of course, Loving Song at the bottom from the album Venus and Mars by Wings, produced by Paul McCartney. So on to Letting Go then, which is a picture sleeve from Germany. Great image of the guys, probably the most successful lineup of Wings. On the reverse there, we're promoting the Venus and Mars album there. With Letting Go and You Gave Me the Answer on this single. Of course, once again, you've got that Capital label there. On the left there, you've got the 1975, P1975. And on the right, produced by Paul McCartney with the planets and stereo. With Letting Go, written by McCartney and Wings. And on the opposite side then, of course, you've got the Capital label again with 1975 on the left. And on the right, produced by Paul McCartney with the planets and stereo. And You Gave Me the Answer by Wings at the bottom. On to Venus and Mars, Rockshow, and this particular picture sleeve from Belgium. Great picture sleeve, this one, really like this one. Got a live shot of the guys there. And on the back, of course, Magneto and Titanium Man. Brilliant picture sleeve, this one. And then we've got that Capital label once again there, with MPO on the left. And of course, you've got on the right the planets with stereo and Venus and Mars Rockshow with Wings and produced by Paul McCartney. On the reverse then, you've got the Capital label once again with MPL on the left and on the right the planets with stereo, Magneto and Titanium Man by McCartney, Wings and produced by Paul McCartney. Great single. On to France for this particular picture sleeve then of Silly Love Songs with Cook of the House on the B-side. By Wings then, and of course we're promoting Wings at the speed of sound there. We've got the Wings logo as well, Pathé Marconi at the bottom, and a fabulous label for this particular one with the Wings at the speed of sound label there, with Silly Love Songs and Wings on the left with stereo and MPL. Of course, on the B-side then we've got Linda's Cook of the House, once again with Wings and Stereo and MPL. And of course you've got a special label there, Wings at the Speed of Sound. Really fabulous single on picture sleeve, this one. Really nice. So on to another single then from Wings at the Speed of Sound. Of course it's Let 'Em In with Beware My Love on the B-side. Got Wings there. Some great pictures of Paul. And then we're promoting the album Wings at the Speed of Sound with Let 'Em In and Beware My Love, Wings. Let's take a look at the old disc then. Once more there, we've got the Wings at the Speed of Sound logo there, label, special label. More like the ones that were used in the UK. Of course, you've got Let 'Em In there on the left from the album Wings at the Speed of Sound. And Wings, produced by Paul McCartney. Made in Germany, of course, on the left. With the P 1976 on the right there. And then on the reverse then, of course, Beware My Love then. From the album Wings at the Speed of Sound by Wings, produced by Paul McCartney. So on to Japan then, and 1977, and of course we've got the single then, Maybe I'm Amazed and Soily, from the album Wings Over America. It's a great Japanese picture sleeve, this one. And of course you've got the lyrics there in Japanese and English. So let's take a look at the actual single itself then. Of course, very faithful labels to the UK one there as well. Got A-side there with MPL, Stereo, and of course you've got Wings, Maybe I'm Amazed, with McCartney. Very small writing on this one. And capital logo on the right, and of course from the album Wings Over America. Flipping it over to the other side then, which is Wings and Soily. The B-side MPL on the left there and Stereo. And on the right there you got that capital logo, and from the album Wings Over America. Back to the UK then for this particular picture cover. And of course Paul's biggest number one, which is Mull of Kintyre and Girls' School as a double A side. So let's take a look at the single then. Of course you've got the capital label there with the double A side MPL there and P 1977 and MPL Communications Limited. With on the right there the original catalogue number produced by Paul McCartney with Mull of Kintyre written by McCartney and Denny Laine and Wings at the bottom. On the B side then, or double A side should we say, the capital label once more, we've got Girls' School there with the MPL logo and P 1977 with McCartney Productions Limited again. And of course you've got on the right the original catalogue number produced by Paul McCartney with Girls' School at the bottom, McCartney and Wings. So on to 1978 then, and we've got a German picture sleeve here for With a Little Luck. On the back there we got With a Little Luck with Backwards Traveller and Cufflink and Wings with the London Town picture sleeve, their album picture sleeve. Right, let's take a look at the single. Of course you've got the colour side there representing the A side on this particular single, which is actually a DJ edit on this one. But you've got the catalogue number for the UK single there. And of course there you've got With a Little Luck by McCartney from the album London Town, which is produced by Paul McCartney. Brilliant single this one, really love this particular song. On the B side then you got Backwards Traveller and Cufflink. Once again on the right there you got the catalogue number, UK catalogue number and B side there with Wings right at the top. And obviously Backwards Traveller, Cufflink, written by McCartney from the album London Town, produced by Paul McCartney. Another UK single then, obviously I've Had Enough. Quite a freaky looking single this one, this picture sleeve. Eating spaghetti there with all those eyes all over the place. Quite freaky looking. On the back there, of course, you've got Deliver Your Children and the UK catalogue number with Wings. There's certainly hope that the archive editions will be London Town and Back to the Egg, the next ones, hopefully. Once again there, you've got that special London Town logo and label with Wings at the top there and the UK catalogue number to the right. And I've Had Enough by McCartney from the album London Town, produced by Paul McCartney. And on the reverse then, of course there you've got this colour label with Wings and the catalogue number to the right. Deliver Your Children then by McCartney and Denny Laine from the album London Town, produced by Paul McCartney. So on to the Netherlands then for this particular single, which is London Town and I'm Carrying. Great photo of the guys there by Tower Bridge. Same picture both sides. And obviously all these singles have come from the original master tapes, so there's no reason then why we shouldn't get an archive version of this and Back to the Egg, obviously London Town. So fingers crossed, eh guys? So we've got the Wings label there, special Wings label for London Town, and this is the A-side, 1978 MPL Communications Limited on the left. With on the right there's stereo and the catalogue number. At the bottom there, London Town, written by McCartney and Lane, and of course produced by Paul McCartney. With the B-side, I'm Carrying, you've got the colour London Town labels there. With on the left there, P1978 with MPL Communications Limited again. And the catalogue number and stereo on the right. With I'm Carrying, and of course McCartney, produced by Paul McCartney. So on to 1979 then, and we've got a French picture sleeve for Goodnight Tonight. And of course we've got a new lineup for Wings there, including Steve Holly and Lawrence Duber. I met both of those guys at one of the Beatles conventions actually, and they're both really nice chaps. Not much on the B-side there, just a blank square. And then we've got the actual single itself on a Parlophone label there, with a star. Of course there you've got Wings at the bottom and Goodnight Tonight, written by Paul McCartney and produced by Paul McCartney, with P1979. On the B-side, once again you've got Wings and Daytime Nighttime Suffering, with Paul McCartney and produced by Paul McCartney. Quite a great single this one. I do quite like the 12-inch version though. So more 1979 singles then, and of course from Back to the Egg we've got Old Siam Sir, with BW, which is backed with Spin It On. Good replication of the picture sleeve from the UK, and these are really great labels. Always loved these labels, really fascinated me at the time when I bought this album. Of course on the left there you got MPL with from the album Back to the Egg and 1979 MPL Communications Limited, with on the right there the catalogue number, produced by Paul McCartney and Chris Thomas, with Old Siam Sir at the bottom, written by Paul and by Wings. So Over Easy then, of course we've got MPL on the left, and from the album Back to the Egg, 1979 MPL Communications Limited, with the catalogue number on the right then, and produced by Paul and Chris Thomas again, with Spin It On, written by Paul and performed by Wings. Great stuff. So another UK then, picture sleeve for Getting Closer, obviously taking the Lobster out for a little walk there, by Wings, and Baby's Request by Wings. It's obviously a double A side on this single. Once again, you got those egg labels. We've obviously taken from the album Back to the Egg there, 1979 MPL Communications Limited, with on the right there the original catalogue number, produced by Paul and Chris Thomas, with their A and Getting Closer, written by Paul and performed by Wings. With the B-side, or should we say the double A side, on Over Easy label then, with on the left there, from the album Back to the Egg, P1979 MPL Communications, and on the right there the catalogue number, produced by Paul and Chris Thomas, with the A-side, double A side, and Baby's Request, Paul McCartney and Wings. So we move to Japan then for this particular single then, and we've got Arrow Through Me with Old Siam Sir as the B-side. Obviously you got the picture from the Back to the Egg album there at the front, and of course the lyrics in Japanese and English, and then we've got the record itself on the Odeon label, with on the right there you've got the A-side, stereo, and of course the MPL logo, with Arrow Through Me and Wings, with 1979 MPL Communications Limited. And onto the B-side there, once again you've got the B-side there with stereo and the MPL logo, with Old Siam Sir and Wings, with 1979 MPL Communications Limited. So on to Paul's final single then from the 70s. Of course you've got Wonderful Christmas Time and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reggae. Quite apt for this particular time of year, of course. So you've got the UK picture sleeve there, replicated perfectly. And then we've got the Parlophone label there, with on the left 1979 McCartney Productions Limited and produced by Paul McCartney, with on the right there the catalogue number, and of course Wonderful Christmas Time by McCartney and performed by Paul McCartney, which although it should really be Wings. You've got on the B-side then, once again you've got P 1979 with MPL Communications Limited and produced by Paul McCartney, with on the right there the catalogue number, and of course at the bottom Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reggae, but I think it's Johnny Marks, hard to see there, but I think it's Johnny Marks by Paul McCartney. So on to the 1980s then, and of course we got Coming Up, Paul McCartney. On the back there, of course, you've got Paul McCartney Coming Up with Lunchbox, Odd Socks, and of course Coming Up live in Glasgow. So let's take a look at the actual 45 then, of course. Once again, you've got a faithful UK reproduction there, with on the left 1980 MPL Communications Limited, with on the right the catalogue number, and produced by Paul McCartney. With coming up there, and from the album McCartney 2, Paul McCartney, the EMI box logo. On the B-side then, once again then, on the left there you got the P1980, and on the right there you got the catalogue number, and produced by Paul McCartney, with coming up live in Glasgow, and of course Lunchbox Odd Socks, which I believe goes back to about the mid-70s, around about the Venus and Mars sessions, and Paul McCartney and Wings there. So another fantastic single by Paul then is Waterfalls, with Check My Machine on the B-side. Brilliant single, this one. Obviously I really do like the A-side. But then you've got on the left there, you've got administered and published by McCartney Music, with the P1980 original sound recordings made by MPL. And on the right there, you've got the catalogue number and produced by Paul, with Waterfalls at the bottom there. And of course from the album McCartney 2 and Paul McCartney. And on the B-side, once again, you've got published and administered by McCartney Music, with the P1980 there, and original sound recordings by MPL. With on the right the catalogue number, produced by Paul, and of course you've got Check My Machine and Paul McCartney. So on to a previously unreleased 7-inch single then, we've got Temporary Secretary, which is only ever available as a 12-inch single. Great little bit of artwork there by Jeff Cummings, whom I met this year, and I've got a signed print by Jeff. Brilliant, really great artist. They've got Secret Friend on the B-side there by Paul McCartney, really faithful to the 12-inch single, both images. And you've got that Parlophone label there with MPL Communications on the left, 1980. And on the right there you've got Stereo with Temporary Secretary by Paul McCartney and produced by Paul McCartney from McCartney 2. And on the B-side then, once again, on the left we've got MPL Communications Limited, 1980. With on the right Stereo, and of course Secret Friend, which is the 7-inch edit by Paul McCartney and produced by Paul McCartney. So on to the fabulous single then, Ebony and Ivory, from the fabulous album Tug of War. So obviously we've got Stevie Wonder duetting with Paul on this particular single, although it wasn't at the same time. And of course you've got Rain Clouds on the B-side. So a very faithful label then, because the label did change in the 80s, the Parlophone label. Got the Juggler on the left-hand side there, with 1982 original sound recordings made by MPL Communications Limited. And on the right there we've got the catalogue number, produced by George Martin from the album Tug of War, with Ebony and Ivory there, Paul McCartney, and additional vocals by Stevie Wonder. And on the B-side then, once again you've got the Juggler on the left there, with MPL Communications Limited in 1982. And on the right there we've got the catalogue number and produced by George Martin, with Rain Clouds, written by Paul McCartney and Denny Lane. Paul McCartney at the bottom. On to another UK picture sleeve then, which is Take It Away, Paul McCartney, probably my favourite single of Paul's. I really love this song. With on the back there, you've got I'll Give You a Ring. Got some photos from the sessions there with Ringo and Eric Stewart, and of course George Martin there, who produced the sessions. So, there we are. Once again, you've got the same label as the previous one, with the Juggler on the left, and 1982 original sound recordings made by MPL Communications Limited. With on the right the catalogue number, produced by George Martin from the album Tug of War, with Take It Away by Paul McCartney there. And on the B-side, once again you've got the same details, the Juggler on the left, with 1982 MPL Communications, and on the right there we've got the catalogue number and produced by George Martin. And obviously this single was not on the album, it's an exclusive B-side. I'll Give You a Ring by Paul McCartney. So on to the final single then from the album Tug of War, which is the song Tug of War itself. On the B-side then we got Get It, which is obviously with Carl Perkins. Great song, that one. So once again then we've got that UK label with the Juggler on the left, and of course the P1982 original sound recordings made by MPL. With on the right there the catalogue number and produced by George Martin from the album Tug of War. And of course you've got Tug of War there, Paul McCartney. With the B-side then, you've got Get It there. Of course on the left you've got the Juggler again with the 1982 original sound recordings details. With on the right there the catalogue number, produced by George Martin from the album Tug of War. Get It and Paul McCartney. Brilliant single, this one. So on to 1983 then, and we've got the classic song Say 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 by Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. Great picture of the guys there on the back. Let's take a look at the disc then. Slightly different, slightly whiter label this one. Got the MPL juggler there with the details, 1983. Original sound recordings made by MPL. With on the right there, you've got the catalogue number and produced by George Martin, with Michael Jackson courtesy from Epic Records, with Say 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 written by Paul and Michael Jackson, and from the album Pipes of Peace, Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson there at the bottom. Once again there, you've got the same details, got the juggler on the left, with the 1983 original sound recordings made by MPL, and on the right there, produced by George Martin, and at the bottom, Ode to a Koala Bear, written by McCartney and by Paul McCartney. So on to another great single then, which is Pipes of Peace. Brilliant single with So Bad on the B-side, really great song. And on to the vinyl itself then, another great label there, quite faithful. Got the MPL juggler on the left there with the catalogue number, the original catalogue number, and the P1983, original sound recordings made by MPL. With on the right there, you got the catalogue number and produced by George Martin, taken from the album Pipes of Peace, with Pipes of Peace and Paul McCartney at the bottom. Of course, on the B-side then, once again, you've got the juggler with the P1983 and the original sound recording details, with on the right there the catalogue number and produced by George Martin, with taken from the album Pipes of Peace. So Bad, written by Paul and of course by Paul McCartney. On to 1984 then, and of course we got No More Lonely Nights with the ballad version and of course the play out version. There's Paul on the platform of Broad Street, of course. And we've got a faithful label there once again with 1984 original sound recordings made by MPL on the left there, with the catalogue number on the right and produced by George Martin. With No More Lonely Nights, of course, ballad, written by Paul and by Paul McCartney. Of course, there's a misspelling version of this on the original single, spelt incorrectly. And on the B-side then, you've got the juggler again on the left, with 1984 original sound recordings details. And on the right there, you've got the catalogue number and produced by George Martin, with the No More Lonely Nights play-out version, written by Paul and of course performed by Paul McCartney. So on to Paul McCartney and the frog chorus then, with We All Stand Together, with obviously the humming version on the B-side, which is an instrumental. And of course then we got that label again, nice reproduction, with the juggler on the left and the P1984 original sound recordings made by MPL, with on the right there the catalogue number produced by George Martin, and from the animated feature Rupert and the Frog Song, We All Stand Together, Paul McCartney and the frog chorus. With the B-side, once again, on the left there you got the 1984 original sound recordings made by MPL details. On the right, produced by George Martin and the catalogue number, and from the animated feature Rupert and the Frog Song. And of course at the bottom there we've got We All Stand Together by Paul McCartney and the Finchley Frogettes. That's a bit different. So on to 1985 then, and we got a US picture sleeve there for Spies Like Us. At the bottom there you got the Capitol logo with the title song from the Warner Brothers motion picture. Of course on the back there we've got Spies Like Us on the A side with pictures from the film and the promo film with Chevy Chase and of course Dan Aykroyd, with the B-side being My Carnival, which is from the Venus and Mars sessions. So we've got the Capitol retro label there with the colours banded all round the outside. And you've got stereo on the left there with title song from the film Spies Like Us, with on the right there MPL Communications and the time, and produced by McCartney, Phil Ramone and Hugh Padgham. Of course, yeah, you've got Paul McCartney and Spies Like Us at the bottom. And on the B-side there, once again, got that Capitol logo and label, but on the left there you've got stereo, and of course there at the bottom, Paul McCartney and Wings, My Carnival, which obviously from the Venus and Mars sessions. So onto the US picture sleeve then for the song Press. Quite a faithful reproduction this one, but it's very similar to the UK as well, obviously. It's Not True's on the B-side, but the Press actually is a video edit of this particular song. On the left there you've got the stereo, and of course you've got it from the album Press to Play, with on the top right there the MPL juggler, MPL Communications Inc. and the time, produced by Paul McCartney and Hugh Padgham, with Paul McCartney at the bottom there, Press, the video edit, with Paul McCartney. Once again on the B-side there, the retro label of Capitol. On the left there you got Stereo, with on the right the Juggler, and of course the MPL Communications Inc. with the time, and produced by Paul McCartney and Hugh Padgham. With Paul McCartney, It's Not True. So onto Pretty Little Head then, which has been reformatted from the 12-inch promotional vinyl, as you can see. And we've got Pretty Little Head, which is a remix, and Right Away on the B-side. Great looking sleeve, of course, and we've got that Capitol retro label again. So Paul McCartney there at the top there, and of course Pretty Little Head. We've got the Juggler on the left, and this is actually really quite a thick single, this one. And obviously produced by Paul and Hugh Padgham. It does say not for sale at the bottom, or not for resale. And on the B-side then, got that Capitol logo once again. And then Paul McCartney there, of course, with Right Away. And of course produced by Paul McCartney and Hugh Padgham. And not for resale. On to another US picture sleeve then, and this one's for the song Stranglehold. In the UK we had Pretty Little Head with this particular picture. But this is the US one it's based on. Of course you've got Angry on the B-side, and both tracks from the album Press to Play. So let's take a look at the single. Once again we've got that Capitol retro label, really nice label. And on the left there you got Stereo from the album Press to Play. With on the right there you got the Juggler and MPL Communications Inc. with the time, and produced by Paul McCartney and Hugh Padgham. With at the bottom there, Paul McCartney and Stranglehold, which was written by McCartney and Eric Stewart. On the B-side then, once again, you've got Stereo on the left, of course, with the from the album Press to Play, with the Juggler top right and MPL Communications Inc. with the timing, and produced by Paul McCartney and Hugh Padgham. With at the bottom there, Paul McCartney and Angry, which is a remix, once again by McCartney and Eric Stewart. So Paul's final single then from 1986 is Only Love Remains. And we've got a UK picture sleeve for this one, with Tough on the Tightrope as the B-side. So, got a faithful label once again, with that Juggler on the left, and of course 1986, original sound recordings made by MPL, with the catalogue number on the right, and produced by Paul McCartney and Hugh Padgham, and of course it's from the album Press to Play, with Only Love Remains at the bottom, and of course Paul McCartney, written by Paul. With the B-side then, with the MPL logo on the left again, with the sound recordings made by MPL on the left as well, with on the right there the catalogue number, and of course produced by Paul and Hugh Padgham, and from the album Press to Play, with Tough on a Tightrope, written by Paul McCartney and Eric Stewart, and by Paul McCartney. So on to Paul's only single then from 1987, which is Once Upon a Long Ago then, and we're going to be promoting the album All the Best, obviously, from this picture sleeve. We're Back on My Feet then on the B-side. So a faithful label then, Parlophone label. With on the left there you got the Juggler, and of course the original sound recordings made by MPL. With on the right there you've got the catalogue number, and produced by George Martin. Actually forgot he actually produced this song. And Once Upon a Long Ago at the bottom there, by Paul McCartney. And on the B-side then, once again you got the Juggler on the left, with the original sound recordings made by MPL on the left hand side there. And on the right there you got produced by Phil Ramone, and the catalogue number, with Back on My Feet, written by Paul McCartney and McManus, which is actually Elvis Costello, with Paul McCartney at the bottom there. So on to 1989 then, and we've got the US picture sleeve for My Brave Face, with Flying to My Home on the B-side. Very similar sleeves, obviously, to the UK one, of course, but we've got a Capitol purple label here, with side one on the left there, and from the album Flowers in the Dirt, with MPL Communications details on the right there and the time, produced by Paul, and of course Paul McCartney there, My Brave Face, written by McCartney and McManus. On the B-side then, of course on the left there we got side 2, with on the right there MPL Communications Limited, with the time, and produced by Paul McCartney and Jeff Emerick, with at the bottom there Paul McCartney and Flying to My Home by McCartney. And then on to this one, which is also from 1989, and from the album Flowers in the Dirt, of course, and The First Stone on the B-side. Faithful reproduction, UK picture sleeve, and of course the labels. Parlophone once again changed the label then for this particular one. And you've got Paul McCartney there with this one, and the catalogue number there was produced and arranged by Paul McCartney, with the catalogue number below that as well, and MPL Communications Limited, and the trademark on the left. Then of course on the B-side there, we got The First Stone by McCartney, and obviously Eric Stewart, with the catalogue number there, produced and arranged by Paul McCartney and engineered by Geoff Emerick. Another great single. So we're going to Australia then for this particular picture sleeve then, Figure of Eight by Paul McCartney, backed with Oe Le Soleil on the B-side. Very similar picture sleeve to the UK one as well. Label slightly different there, with Parlophone there and the A-side, with the catalogue number on the left, and the 45 RPM on the right there, with Figure of Eight there, and Paul McCartney, and produced by Paul McCartney. With the B-side then, of course you got the catalogue number on the left, with the 45 RPM to the right there, and Oe Le Soleil by Paul McCartney there. Text is a little bit hard to see on these ones. So on to the Party Party 7-inch single then, and this was part of the Flowers in the Dirt World Tour pack, and you could have got this as a single or a CD single. But this is a one-sided disc, which we'll show you in a moment. What's on the B-side, and of course you've got that white Parlophone label again, with Party Party there, and of course the Parlophone label on trademark on the left, and the catalogue number, and produced by Paul McCartney. With on the B-side, we've got some etchings there, which you should just about see. So on to Put It There then, from 1990, and this is the UK picture sleeve, of course. With on the B-side then, Mama's Little Girl, which is from Paul McCartney and Wings, of course. So we've got the white Parlophone label there with Paul McCartney, and Put It There with the catalogue number, produced by Paul McCartney and from the album Flowers in the Dirt. With the B-side, of course, being Paul McCartney and Wings, Mama's Little Girl, with the catalogue number there, and produced by Paul McCartney and Chris Thomas. So onto a European picture sleeve then for the Long and Winding Road, and of course on the B-side we've got Sea Moon. It's a great looking picture sleeve, this one, really like this one. And then we got the actual single itself, back to a black Parlophone label here, with the stereo on the left there. And of course we got the Long and Winding Road there, Lennon McCartney and Paul McCartney, produced by Paul McCartney. With the B-side there, on the left there we've got stereo, of course, with Paul McCartney, Sea Moon, Paul McCartney, and produced by Paul McCartney. On to the single Birthday then, with Good Day Sunshine. Obviously another UK picture sleeve, really nice looking sleeve, this one. Obviously these are live versions as well. We've got that white Parlophone label again, with Paul McCartney there, and side one, Birthday, Lennon McCartney, with the catalogue number, and produced by Paul McCartney. With on to the B-side then, with side two, Good Day Sunshine, with Lennon McCartney again, and of course the catalogue number, and once again produced by Paul McCartney. So the next single then being All My Trials, with Sea Moon on the B-side. Another UK picture sleeve here, both live versions as well. And of course Paul's voice was just a little bit raw on these particular tracks, especially All My Trials. It did seem like he was struggling, but then he was doing a lot of live performances at the time. Obviously then you got this white Parlophone label once again, with Paul McCartney there, All My Trials, with Tradition, arranged by McCartney. And of course you got the catalogue number there, and produced by McCartney there, with the MPL juggler on the bottom there, and MPL Communications Limited. Once again there on the B-side, of course we got Sea Moon by McCartney, with the catalogue number, and produced by Paul McCartney there, with that juggler bottom right as well. So we've got both singles then from 1991 from the Liverpool Oratorio there by Paul McCartney and Carl Davis, with The World You're Coming Into on one side, and of course Save the Child on the opposite side. Got the EMI Classics label there for The World You're Coming Into on this side, and of course Save the Child on this side, with the juggler there above the centre hole. So on to a European then release for Hope of Deliverance, this picture sleeve, with Long Leather Coat on the B-side. And of course you've got all the guys at the bottom there. You've got Wicks, Hamish, Blair, Paul, Linda and Robbie there. So let's take a look at the actual vinyl then, of course. Got that Parlophone label again, with stereo on the left there, and the MPL Communications details, With on the right there the catalogue number, and Hope of Deliverance, written by Paul McCartney, produced by Paul McCartney, and from the album Off the Ground. We're flipping it over then. Once again there you've got stereo on the left with the MPL communications details, with the catalogue number on the right there, with Long Leather Coat, written by Paul and Linda, produced by Paul, and at the bottom there, Paul McCartney. So on to 1993 then, and a German picture sleeve for Come On People and I Can't Imagine. Very similar to the UK one, of course. Paul there walking past some homeless people in London. So let's take a look at the actual vinyl then itself. So once again we've got that black parlophone label there with stereo on the left and MPL details, of course, with the catalogue number on the right there, and Come On People by McCartney, and of course produced by Paul McCartney, from the album Off the Ground. Another one of my favourite albums of Paul's actually, Off the Ground's brilliant. Once again on the B-side then we've got stereo on the left with the MPL communications details, and the catalogue number on the right with I Can't Imagine by McCartney, produced by Paul McCartney there, and its exclusive B-side. So on to 1997 then, and we've got the reformatted picture disc versions of Young Boy, and obviously we've got these as 7-inch singles now. So great picture of Paul not far from where he lives in Peasmarsh, Rye in Sussex. And we've got Paul McCartney there, Young Boy, and of course Looking For You on the B-side, which is exclusive to this particular single. And of course you've got the special label there, which is similar to the picture, of course, and the flaming pie right under the centre hole there. So we've got Paul McCartney there, of course Young Boy, which was produced by Paul and engineered by Geoff Emerick, with the B-side being Looking For You, of course, and we've got a pink label there, and of course you've got that flaming pie as well, Looking For You there, Paul McCartney. So another reformatted single then from the Flaming Pie album, The World Tonight, absolutely fantastic song, really love that one, with Used To Be Bad on the B-side, which was written obviously by Steve Miller as well as Paul. So let's take a look at the disc then, guys. And of course there, we've got a slightly different orangey label on this one, but very similar to the actual picture sleeve, of course, with that Flaming Pie logo again, and The World Tonight, written by Paul McCartney, produced by Paul and engineered by Geoff Emerick. And on the B-side then, once again, Paul McCartney there with the Flaming Pie logo, Used To Be Bad, written by Paul and Steve Miller, with produced by Paul McCartney and engineered by Geoff Emerick. So on to the final single then from Flaming Pie, Beautiful Night, and of course Love Come Tumbling Down on the B-side. Great photo of Paul there, nice bright picture sleeve. So of course this was reformatted once again from the picture disc to a 7-inch black vinyl format, of course. Nice label there with the parlophone at the top there, and Paul McCartney with the juggler and the little Flaming Pie logo there with Beautiful Night, which is produced by Paul and Jeff Lynne, as with the previous two singles, which I forgot to mention. And the B-side, got Love Come Tumbling Down then, which is produced by Paul and Phil Ramone. So on to the final single then of the 1990s, which is No Other Baby, a really fabulous looking retro parlophone sleeve here, and of course the label as well. Obviously this is the first project after the sad death of Linda McCartney then. Got a retro parlophone label there, really fantastic looking one. A little bit dark though. On the right there you've got the parlophone logo with the catalogue number and made in Great Britain. And at the bottom there you've got No Other Baby, written by Bishop and Watson and Paul McCartney. And on the B-side we've got two tracks there. Of course we've got Brown Eyed Handsome Man by Berry, and of course Fabulous by Land and Sheldon. And Paul McCartney right at the bottom. Fabulous single, really great this one. So we're into the 2000s then with this next batch of singles. And we've got From a Lover to a Friend, great looking picture sleeve. And Riding into Jaipur on the back on the B-side. You've got the listings of the guys there. Of course, you've got Paul McCartney, Rusty Anderson, Abe, Gabe Dixon, and David Carney, who does all the programming and also produced the tracks. And we've got the special labels here, a bit like a Target label, I guess. From a Lover to a Friend there, Paul McCartney. And then on the B-side, Riding into Jaipur. So on to 2004 then, and of course we've got Tropical Island Hum And the version of We All Stand Together on the B-side. Got a picture of Wirral the squirrel there with Rupert the bear. On the back there, really nice looking picture cover there. Of course, it's the 20th anniversary then of We All Stand Together, making its appearance on this single. We've got all the lyrics on the back there as well. And special labels with Wirral and, of course, Rupert. And that's the A-side. And then on the B-side, of course, We All Stand Together. So on to 2005 then, and we've got a European picture sleeve for Fine Line. Fabulous song. And of course we've got Growing Up, Falling Down. Absolutely brilliant album. Chaos and Creation, one of my favourite albums. On this single then we've got a little insert, of course. The lyrics are Fine Line there. A little drawing. I'll put that over there. So we're going to take a look at the actual single itself. Got those Chaos and Creation labels, of course. With both tracks both produced by Nigel Goodrich. With Fine Line being recorded at Air Studios. And the B-side being recorded at Ocean Way Studios in LA. Another single then from the Chaos and Creation album, Jenny Wren. Absolutely brilliant picture sleeve this one. I love this one. Great photo of Paul. Really nice. And there's the B-side there, of course. Jenny Wren and Summer of '59. Lovely looking sleeve, this one. So, there's the single. Same labels. Jenny Wren on the A-side. Once again, both tracks produced by Nigel Goodrich. And the B-side, Summer of '59. So on to 2007 then, with Dance Tonight. Got a really nice glossy sleeve. And actually there's a lot of these sleeves that are very similar as towards the end of these singles, actually, on the set. On the back side there, of course, we've got Dance Tonight and, of course, Dance Tonight demo. And then we've got the single. Nice yellow label. Minimalist information, though. Of course, there you've got Paul McCartney and Dance Tonight with the Capitol and the Juggler logos. Then on the B-side, of course, Dance Tonight demo version. But once again, you've got the Capitol and that Juggler logo. So the next single then, previously unreleased on 7-inch vinyl. Of course, we got Nod Your Head and 222. Sort of blurred image of Paul there, but you've got that lovely sort of shiny sleeve again. On the back there, of course, you've got Nod Your Head, 222. With the Capitol and the Juggler logos there. You've got another one of those type of labels. This one's slightly blue. Paul McCartney there, Nod Your Head. And on the B-side, 222. So onto a European picture sleeve then of Ever Present Past. Great photo of Paul on the back there. Ever Present Past and a House of Wax, which is live. And we've got a little insert on this one to make the little wrist band, of course. Great pictures of Paul. But on the inside, you can make the little wristband, which is what you've got there. And of course then we've got the single, that's the A-side, Ever Present Past, with House of Wax, a live version. So a special Fireman 7-inch single then. I wonder who the fireman could be, actually. And of course this is a specially previously unreleased 7-inch single, with Singing the Changes and Nothing Too Much, Just Out of Sight. There's the back then, with the A and B sides, and of course the same basic labels again, with the A side, the fireman there, Sing the Changes, and of course the B side, Nothing Too Much, Just Out of Sight, radio edit. So another previously unreleased single then on 7-inch vinyl is I Want to Come Home, which is actually from the film Everybody's Fine. With the B-side being I Want to Come Home, which is the demo version. So nice glossy sleeve again. And of course those minimalist labels. Paul McCartney there, I Want to Come Home. With the Capitol and the Juggler logos at the bottom. And then on the B-side, Paul McCartney, I Want to Come Home, the demo version. So the final single in this batch then is My Valentine and Get Yourself Another Fall, from Kisses on the bottom, of course, Really great looking picture sleeve, this one. Really like this one. On the back there, of course, you've got the 2 tracks, My Valentine and Get Yourself Another Fool on the B-side. And then we've got the labels itself, and the single, Paul McCartney there, My Valentine, with the capital and the juggler there at the bottom. And flipping that over then to the B-side, and Get Yourself Another Fool. So on to the last batch of singles then. From the last 10 years of Paul's career, we've got a US version of Christmas Kisses and of course the Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire, with Wonderful Christmastime on the B-side. So there we got it then. We got Paul McCartney Christmas Kisses there. Of course this was issued on both red and green vinyl back in 2012. Obviously this one's a black vinyl. So we've got the A-side there, which is produced by Tommy La Puma. And of course we've got the B-side, which is Wonderful Christmas Time, recorded at Abbey Road and produced by Paul. So on to the next single then, which is previously unreleased on 7-inch vinyl, which is New and Early Days. Of course New came out in 2013, a great album. So let's take a look at the vinyl then. The minimalist labels again, with Paul McCartney. On the A side then we've got New, with the capital logo, and of course the juggler at the bottom there. Then you've got the B side, being Early Days, with Paul McCartney there. Bit more colour on this sleeve then for Queenie Eye, and of course Save Us, 2 great songs, both from the new album of course from 2013, and both of these tracks unreleased on a single, once again. So let's take a look at the vinyl, of course. There you go, you've got Queenie Eye there. Of course, Save Us, really great song that one. Really like Save Us. On the B-side. So once again then, another previously unissued song on 7-inch vinyl. We got Hope for the Future and Hope for the Future Thrash Mix from the Destiny soundtrack from 2014. Lovely looking sleeve this one, really beautiful, full gloss there, really nice. And on the back there, absolutely superb sleeve this one. Hope for the Future there, Paul McCartney, Main and Thrash from Destiny. Let's take a look at the vinyl then. Once again, you've got superb labels there. Hope for the Future, Main, Paul McCartney there. Then on the B-side, Hope for the Future there, Paul McCartney and Thrash. So another previously unissued 7-inch single then. We've got In the Blink of an Eye, which is from the film Ethel and Ernest, and of course Walking in the Park with Eloise, originally by the Country Hams from 1974, which was obviously Wings, and written by Paul's dad, Jim McCartney. So there we are, we've got the A-side of course, In the Blink of an Eye, and Walking in the Park with Eloise, the B-side, with the Chamber Orchestra of London. Let's take a look at the vinyl then. And we've got the A-side there. Of course, the B-side, Walking in the Park with Eloise. So on to the 2018 single then, I Don't Know and Come On To Me. From both tracks from Egypt Station then. And take a look at the vinyl. Of course you've got I Don't Know on the A-side there, which is produced by Greg Kurstin and co-produced by Paul, with MPL Communications there, and the Hollywood address of Capitol Records in Vine Street. So on the B-side then, my favourite song of the two, Come On To Me, once again produced by Greg Kurstin and co-produced by Paul. MPL Communications and the Capitol address in Hollywood, California, Vine Street. Great single this one. So another previously unissued song on 7-inch vinyl then, of course we got Who Cares and For You. Great looking picture sleeve this one, really nice. A-side there, Who Cares and For You on the B-side. Take a look at the single then. There's the A-side, Who Cares, love that song, great song. Both from Egypt Station of course. And once again the B-side, For You. So on to 2019 then, with this double A-sided single of Home Tonight and In a Hurry, both non-album tracks. It's an RSD exclusive picture disc back in 2019, but obviously we got a 7-inch vinyl disc here. With the A-side then, Home Tonight there, that special label, just like the picture disc. Of course, double A-side, In a Hurry there. Both produced by Greg Kurstin and co-produced by Paul McCartney. So once again then, previously unissued on 7-inch vinyl, we've got the songs Find My Way and Winterbird When Winter Comes. Great looking photo this one, the dice from obviously the album McCartney 3. And there's the reverse of the sleeve there, with the actual vinyl. There's minimalist labels again, this one being green obviously. Got Paul McCartney there, Find My Way, that's a great song, I like that one. And of course, Winterbird When Winter Comes, both from 2020, the McCartney 3 release. Okay, so the final single of the set then is Women and Wives, and this is previously unissued on 7-inch vinyl. Of course, it was issued as RSD in 2022 on a 12-inch vinyl, very, very limited. Of course, we've got two versions here, Women and Wives, the second version being produced by St Vincent, with the A-side being produced by Paul McCartney. So of course there's the A-side, with the McCartney 3 type labels of course. And there's the B-side then, Women and Wives, produced by St Vincent. So the final thing to show you guys of the box set then is this white label test pressing. So you've got a special little folder there with the MPL logo right at the bottom. And of course the single I've got then is Jenny Wren and Summer of '59. Obviously we don't know how many copies of each particular white test pressing there is of each one, but there's got to be quite a few obviously to cover the box sets of 3,000 copies. So let's take a look then, the actual single, surmising that's Jenny Wren on that side. And of course you've got Summer of '59. I've got to say guys, this set is absolutely fantastic. It's very exclusive, but very expensive. Well, if you're still with me, thank you very much for watching this very special video. I'm really sorry that it's so long, but I had to do it for you guys, even though it's such a gargantuan set to show. So obviously then, if I get any comments or communication from any of you Beatle people, I will of course get back to you as soon as I can. So as always, if you enjoy what I'm doing, why not give us a like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. This is Beatle Dave signing off.